Well, boys, howdy to y'all. Good evening. Figured while I'm headed down to the gym, I'd make a little video for y'all. And I've been thinking about Duramax. I often call it Durashmax, so don't get bent out of shape, guys. Someone was tripping about it in one of the other videos, so I'll keep it straight. Duramax, I haven't talked much about it because my experience with Duramax is very limited. I wanted to underline a few things that a lot of guys get lopsided on, is the towing number and, let's just say, power, reliability, and numbers. Three things I'd want to accomplish today. Anyways, rewind the tape to my experience. My experience hasn't been all that great with Duramaxes. Personally, I've never owned one. Just looking around, looking at guys using their Duramaxes, and doesn't go very well. Doesn't go for the guys very well when they do heavy haul. Now, guys, let's set some lines down, okay? Some lines. My number is 28,000 pounds. If you pull on a scale at 28,000 pounds, day in and day out, and I mean, I'm talking like gross vehicle weight, truck, trailer, load, everything, 28, day in and day out, I'm convinced that engine ain't gonna make it to 200,000. Convinced it. From my little previous experience and understanding the way that engine works and the way it functions and the way it power bands and all that great stuff. Now, I'm not here to bash on Duramax. All I'm here to say, once again, is one size does not fit at all, and I can't stress enough about it. Something you guys, the heck, someone lost a rock. Anyways, I can't stress enough about it. The fact that you're not going to run out of power, guys. Which leads me to my next thing, numbers. To today's day, Duramax has like incredibly low, quote-unquote, towing numbers. It's not because they're weak. It's not because of their transmission. It's not because of their frame. It's solely because they're giving you a hint engine. But that's just a hint. Personally, that's not what keeps me away from the Duramaxes. What keeps me away is me understanding what they're built for, and they don't fit me. That's all it is. As simple as that. A V8 engine is a high revving engine. A Isuzu engine is technically what it is, in short. But getting back to the point of those numbers, let's just say you hook up 30,000 pounds to a Duramax Power Stroke and a Cummins. Quite frankly, that Duramax might even be quicker up the hill. That's not what I'm concerned about. Obviously, how peppy the engine is plays a role for me as well in my industry. I don't want to be doing 20 miles an hour up a pass, clearly. But, if one truck pulls half a truck length or half a trailer further than the other, I give two craps about that. We're talking open throttle. Let's say those guys at in Colorado, a Gauntlet Pass. Well, anyways, it's a crazy uphill, pull. They full throttle those trucks and see what they could do, right? Well, anyways, moral of the conclusion for me and the story for me is, I don't see a Duramax lasting past 200,000 day in and day out, getting used and abused for what I do. My next thing is, for what I do, a lot of my guys don't do 28, 30,000, but they're pretty often 25, 26 ballpark. Next thing is the engine, the Duramax engine, the chassis or the truck that it's being put into just doesn't fit the rugged stance. Now, independent suspension, it gives you a nice, comfortable ride for a pickup. It is the quietest, smoothest riding truck, and it's an awesome truck, guys. I myself would probably be driving the Denali right now if I didn't have to pulling goosenecks wasn't part of the way I make money, and I really had to have these. I'd probably do a Duramax. There ain't nothing wrong pulling your 30,000 pound load. There's nothing wrong pulling your 40,000 pound load. There's everything wrong with expecting it to last doing those kind of weights day in and day out. So therefore, those towing numbers might be a little hint, but they don't scare me. Those towing numbers, they're there to protect the manufacturer. They're there to compete with different manufacturers. Clearly, GM could give two craps about those numbers. I mean, they're way behind Dodge and Chrysler. Well, let's say Ram and Ford, are way ahead of the game compared to GM, but nor here or there. And so to cover it again, my experience, I didn't share enough with you guys on that one. My buddies, I have a buddy that bought a brand spanking new one off the lot. He did minimal hot shotting with it. He was very happy. That's the guy that I saw as trans temp, and I'm like, yeah, you can keep your house. And then another guy that came to work for me, and I want to say 200 or not even at 200,000. That engine was handed to him in boxes. Him and his brother bought the truck off of a farmer and put another engine in there, rebuilt that engine, and anyways, long story short, completely different engine in that truck. Even, let's just say at 200,000. Next thing. I bought a trailer off a guy about half a year ago. This guy decides to tow a really nice heavy-duty trailer with the Duramax. Come on, guys. Bull crap. Don't do that. Don't stress that engine. It's not intended for that. It's a light-duty engine. It's not a medium-duty engine. It's a light-duty engine. And for you to pull a heavy-duty triple axle gooseneck trailer, you just can't deal with the Duramax reliably. And here's a fact. It took them 60,000 miles to grenade that engine. Guys, a trailer alone is 11,000 pounds. Okay? And then you add another 20,000 pounds worth of freight at a minimum. I mean, what? It's ridiculous even at those kind of rates. 11,000 on the trailer and 12 or 20,000 on the freight. It's a pretty dead-end trailer if you ask me, but it's a really nice heavy-duty trailer. That trailer needs to be pulled with a much heavier truck than a 3500. I'll share that story later in another video, how and what I pull that trailer with. Guys, he bought the truck at 60,000. No, he bought the truck at 100,000. Someone trading it in. He bought it at 100,000. 160, that thing was already on jack stands, the blown engine. Guys, 60,000 miles, the engine is done. Why? Because it was used for the wrong purpose. Okay, the guy's meticulous. He's a trucker. Doesn't push his equipment. I mean, there's only so much I can't push my equipment when you're crawling 20 miles an hour. Obviously, no one wants to crawl that, so they keep pushing it. There's a stock truck, nothing wrong with it, maintained. This guy, man, he takes care of his stuff. And he was pretty devastated. I'm like, yo, you know me from a long time back. Why didn't you ever bother to ask? Well, I've always been a GM guy. The Duramax treated me well. Yeah, when you were pulling a tandem tandem single axe trailer that's 25 feet, of course the Duramax is going to be perfectly fine for that. Not when you got a 40-footer plus an 8-footer, so that's 48 feet of deck space. Triple axle, air suspension. I mean, that's a heavy pig. Just the trailer itself, And he was pretty bummed out, so he ended up selling me that trailer, turning it around, buying himself an old truck, like an old Volvo with the N14 in it, fixed her up, and he's back on the road with a big rig. Why? Because he did it wrong. So that's my experience, and that's why I say Duramaxes are they don't fit us. It's just not the engine for us. I'm not here to bash on it. It's just, you don't hot shot with Duramax, and don't blow up my conversation or my comments. Hey, all those guys pull, those bumper trailer, or what are they, travel trailers? Guys, I just told you, the empty gooseneck alone is 11,000 pounds. An average bumper pull trailer is probably 8 to 10,000 pound bracket. I'm not saying there ain't some heavy boys out there. What I am saying, those guys aren't pulling, crazy weight all the time. I mean, they have wind resistance. I gotta give that to them, but it's just not, the weight isn't there. So, even though I, quite frankly, let's say my boys that don't have a CDL, the Duramax engine could possibly last a little bit past 200 because, they have to stay under 26. But that suspension, guys, is going to be at a loss. So my number to y'all is, if you're starting to cross 28,000 pounds daily, forget it. Stay out of that truck, because it will cost you a pretty penny. Now, I'm going to repeat myself and tell you that I myself would probably be driving a Denali, a GMC Denali. It's a quieter, smoother ride. You know, it's just a better, more comfortable truck. That's what it's better at. You know, now you hook up like I just mentioned. You know, you use that truck the way we use our trucks, and they ain't gonna make it to 200,000. It's just my experience with Duramax. They weren't built for it. So quit trying to make it work. It's just not gonna work. It's like me trying to tell you that this Ram's the most comfortable ride out there, and it's refined. No, it's a wagon. It's what it is. This Dodge Ram is a wagon. Well, this Ram 3500 is a stinking wagon. It'll pull anything behind it, but it's a wagon. It's loud compared to the Duramax. I'm saying, you know, a GMC or whatever. But anyways, guys, that's my experience with Duramaxes. You know, once in a while I hear, you know, a comment, hey, what about a Duramax? Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? It's just what it is, you know. And I can't stress it enough. You guys are going to go say Paul's bashing on Duramaxes. I am not. I'm just telling you, start crossing that 28 on a daily basis. It's just, even at 26, 25 on daily, you know, yeah, 26, 25, you're really working that engine. You're stressing that engine. Now, this is just the feel of the gut. I feel like Power Strokers are doing a little bit better than Duramaxes are. You know, Duramax is like that little brother, wanna be tough, but it's cute and cozy. I don't know how to describe it, but you guys get what I'm saying. Just a soft-hearted truck. Let's put it that way. I'm not saying bad about Allison. Allison is old technology. I gotta say their 5 speeds were a lot more durable and reliable than their 6 speeds. That's from seeing what's going on around me. And once again, I'm not bashing, just sharing my experience. That's, you know, to sum it up, that's why I stay away from Duramaxes. They're not proven. If I, mechanically decently inclined, can't put one and one together, it would be my ignorance that's going to be paying those bills, you know, for the front end rebuilds because of the independent suspension. Just not going to last. You know, I've told you guys, I have a 300,000 mile truck. Well, it's quite a bit more now, but back when I did the video, 300,000, you know, I did uppers and lowers shortly after that, ball joints. So uppers and lowers, I only needed to do uppers, but I'm there, might as well do both. That's how I did it. And that's it. U-joints, solid, you know, front axle, U-joints, they're solid. Just overall, you know, the thing is just solid there. Nothing that I needed to be worked on. Anyways, you boys behave. Yeah, Duramax is a good engine, but it has its time and place. And, you know, towing day in and day out is just not its place. That's all it comes down to. And once again, I'm talking from an aspect of a hot shotter, you know, on the heavier side, because I don't know who's going to end up in my truck as far as drivers go. So that's why I need to be prepared for more, because some of my CDL guys, they tow, you know. They might even hook up to the tandem dually trailer once in a great while, and they need to pull that weight, and they got to pull that weight. They got the truck to do it. You know, I ain't worried about them stressing the truck, shortly put, you know. If I have a Duramax in the fleet, I mean, there's a bunch of other reasons, but I'm just telling you the primary ones. I like to run my equipment with a reserve. You know, like, put it in simple, like, just so you guys understand my analogy and my understanding of all, like my Mercedes. I have a car that I've, you know, wrenched on, and the limits of that transmission is 900 foot-pounds of torque. 900. You know, I gave it 750. I feel confident there, and that's all I'm ever gonna give. I like that cushion. I like that, you know, I like that. I know I have a reserve. You know, like my Cummins. It's a medium-duty engine, and the Ison 69, or what is it, ASC 69, whatever, is a medium-duty transmission. It came initially from a box truck, like a mid-sized box truck, not one of them U-Haul small box trucks, like a good-sized box truck, and air brakes and all that good stuff. I like my cushion. I like to know that even if I'm putting it, you know, giving it all it's got, I'm not pushing all that it has. Just because the computer's tuned for certain power numbers and certain limits are there, or a certain percentage of the power is there, I know that I'm not pushing. So that's my biggest stance from why I do Cummins, from why I'm so happy with my iSense, because I'm a light duty pickup doing medium duty stuff. And vaguely to mention, you know, I got a 35 cabin chassis truck that pulls that 40 footer. You know, does it get hot? No, I haven't seen it get hot. Does it have a hard time? No, it just does it slower. I'm just not worried that it's gonna grenade the engine. Wait, I do have a Cummins that grenaded, but that's a whole different story for another day. I'll make a video. Well, I have a video. Anyways, guys, so it goes hand in hand with the Duramax. You know, you rub it high, you're gonna heat up that oil, you're gonna heat up everything. Not to say that Cummins doesn't heat up. If you do it right, it doesn't. But from the just preventative maintenance or measures need to be taken. And guys that had Duramax, they took in that preventative. Like my buddy that blew his in 60,000 miles. You know, he had everything in place for cooling and whatnot, and it still didn't work. Anyways, guys, I'm done. That's it. You guys heard it from me with the Duramax. Next thing is you're gonna hear it from me with a power stroke and whatnot, and where I stand on all this. But to conclude, you guys that are pulling 10, 12, 15,000 pounds, pick your truck, because all three engines are gonna do it just fine. You're not gonna have any problems with any of them. Pick your darn truck. That's all you gotta pick. If you like the GMC, go with the GMC. If you like your Ford, go with the Ford, Dodge, whatever. I'm talking about pulling. You know, I'd probably, a V8 diesel, I'd probably cap it at 15,000 pounds behind you. Day in and day out, you're fine. You want the inline six once you start pushing, you know, those big numbers. And I mean, Paul, you're not adding up. Why are you saying 15,000 behind it? That's my comfort level. And I told you 2830. I can almost give you a personal guarantee that you'll grenade that engine for day in and day out. You know, 2830 on the day in and day out number. So don't get those two confused. Comfortable with me, I tell y'all, just do it up to 15,000 on a V8 diesel, and anything over that, stick with the inline six Cummins. But don't get those confused. I can't stress it enough. You guys are gonna go, oh, you're contradicting yourself. Simply, according to Paul, you pull 28,000 pounds day in and day out, you will grenade that engine by 200,000. Paul's comfort level for a V8, probably 15,000 pounds behind it. Paul has a power stroke in the fleet, and we do tow with it heavy sometimes. Keeping our fingers crossed, and I did tell you, my gut does have a feeling the power strokers are a little bit more rugged than the Duramax, but time will show, guys. Everything. Time shows everything. Good, bad, awesome. Anywho's, I'm out. Y'all have a mighty fine day. Behave, and yeah, good night. Bye.